My dear students of 12th class, and today we are going to take up and know more about this RNA. This RNA is a dynamic molecule, and how it proves its dynamism is to be discussed today in our lecture. And previously we have talked about this RNA versus DNA, and RNA acts as a genetic material in some viruses like TMV, that is tobacco mosaic virus, and some bacteriophages. Whereas preferably DNA is a better hereditary material compared to RNA. And now RNA performs dynamic functions of messenger and adapter to be found from the differences between chemical structures of the two nucleic acid molecules. You must be remembering that is DNA and the RNA. And this RNA, structurally, if we go to the structure of RNA, it has a 2' group present at every nucleotide, and which makes it a reactive group and makes RNA labile and easily degradable. And RNA now is known to be catalytic also, hence reactive. Therefore, compared to DNA, this RNA is not a preferred genetic material. So among the two nucleic acids, the DNA is a better genetic material because of its greater stability. And the presence of the thymine at the place of uracil in RNA also confers that DNA is more stable than RNA. And now one more thing is that both the genetic materials, that DNA and RNA, they are capable of mutations. In fact, RNA is unstable and hence it mutates at a faster rate. And this is a point to be noted here, that RNA being unstable mutate at a faster rate. Consequently, viruses having RNA genome and having shorter lifespan mutate and evolve faster. This RNA can directly code for the synthesis of proteins and hence can easily express the characters. And also, one more thing to prove the dynamism of RNA is the protein synthesizing machinery has evolved around RNA. So, from the discussions, both RNA and DNA can function as the genetic material, but DNA being more stable, consequently DNA being more stable, is preferred for storage of the genetic information and for transmission of the genetic information. That is, for transmission of the genetic information, RNA is better. And now the RNA world. So an immediate question becomes evident, that which is the primitive or the first genetic material, and it is to be discussed in detail in the evolution that is going to be discussed by in your zoology. But here we will try to highlight some of the facts and points that makes this RNA a dynamic molecule. This RNA was the first genetic material, and there is now enough evidence to suggest that essential life processes such as metabolism, translation, splicing evolved around RNA. This RNA used to act as a genetic material as well as the catalyst, and there are some more important biochemical reactions in the living systems which are catalyzed by RNA. RNA catalyzes living systems that are catalyzed by the RNA catalysts and not by the protein enzymes. There are many more these important biochemical reactions in the living systems that are catalyzed by RNA catalysts and not by the protein enzymes. But RNA being a catalyst was reactive and hence unstable. Therefore, it is believed that DNA ultimately has evolved from RNA with chemical modifications that makes it more stable. And DNA being double-stranded and having complementary strand further resist changes by evolving a process of repair. That means this DNA is capable of repairing its strands, whereas this RNA is multifunctional and is able to perform many functions simultaneously. And now we will take up the DNA replication in our next class, inshallah, the semi-conservative mode of DNA replication. Well, thanks. Have a nice day.